when you start telling the truth as a quote unquote black person about the black experience, they come for your neck. They call you a sellout. They call you an Uncle Tom. They call you all kinds of trash digging rodents. Catch what I'm throwing? But one thing they can't call you is a liar. That's one thing I've realized. When you start to speak on these sorts of issues and, get into the uncomfortable conversations that many of us have been thinking and feeling, but, we allowed to just brew on the surface. You can't discredit them in a real way. And so this is a conversation that I've touched bases on beforehand when it comes to, the difference between quote unquote white neighborhoods versus black neighborhoods. I know that is so general and so damn near offensive in the way that it's said, but let's be real here. There is the suburb and there is the ghetto. And yes, we can look back historically and say that the Italians were living in ghettos. But guess what? They ain't no more. If they were, and they were doing so predominantly, and they were the prevailing culture that was pushing a lot of this ghetto ideology and mentality, then they would be getting called out in the same way. But we got to have this conversation. So I ran into a video by a man I've seen before, Rob Smith, I believe is his name, a conservative political pundit, I guess I'd say. I don't know too much about his history, but he's going to say it the way that it is, and then followed up by a young lady who I actually have been pointed towards at a certain point. So I'm going to start looking a little more into what she's got going on. Anyway, let's get into this video.
All right, so every time I come to an area that's nice, the thing that they have in common is that there are like no black people around, and I am dead serious about that. And I know that people are not going to like me. You're going to be talking crap about it, whatever. This is the reality of the situation. I'm in Boston for work right now. I'm at the waterfront.
I started at the top. Hold up. Started from the top.
All right, so every time I come to an area that's nice, the thing that they have in common is that there are like no black people around, and I am dead serious about that. And I know that people are not going to like me. You're going to be talking crap about it, whatever. This is the reality of the situation. I'm in Boston for work right now. I'm at the waterfront or seaport or whatever it is. And I was just walking around. It's nice. It obviously looks expensive. There's nice restaurants. Everybody's just chilling, like families. Just everybody is acting normal. And I'm just like, oh my God, there are like no black people here. And when I mean no black people, I mean none. All right. Like I'm the only one that I've seen that's not like some kind of employee, right? And then there are the people that are here from out of town for the conference that I'm here for. And it really does remind.
So to be fair, if this was a video that was filmed in, let's say, 1903 in New England or 1926 in New York City, and you were speaking of a predominantly black neighborhood, you would be hearing the very same things he's saying right now. Oh my goodness, it's so clean. There's families around. There's a sense of freedom that you have walking around, knowing you're safe. You know what I mean? There's just a calming of your nervous system. There are neighborhoods you go into and you feel a calming of your nervous system. And, I'm not a city slicker. I'm more, I guess, rural per se, but even more so, I like my beachside cities or beachside towns and things of that nature. I like to be out the way into small towns and little nooks and crannies of the world, the Monterreys of the world, etc., right? Off the shores of Holland. Like, that's my type of thing. That's my vibe right there. I love that. And there's just a calming of the entire nervous system. You know what I'm talking about. When you go into many major cities, whether it's black, Hispanic, white, whatever it may be that is populating those areas, there is a tensing up, there's a friction, there's a paranoia, a fight or flight kicking all the damn way in. So again, what he's pointing to, these are facts. And again, we're going to break this all the way down. I'm going to let him cook. I know some folks already, you're breaking out in hives right now just hearing this, calling them all sorts of sellouts, but he looks like he's enjoying himself.
That I'm here for. And it really does remind me, like, it makes me think of, well, why is Miami Beach so chill? Why is Miami Beach so quiet? Again, there are no black people. And I'm just saying this is something that I have observed in the places where people are calm, people are chill. There's just a sense of community. Everybody's just vibing. It's really, really cool. Every time I have that experience, there are either zero black people or a bare minimum of black people. You can do with that what you want to.
Guys, he is not lying at all. Too many of our communities are trashed, literally trash on the sidewalks, liquor bottles on the grass, okay? Loud music at 2 a.m. No respect for property. Go to a black event in the park, and I'm not saying all black events, okay? But go look after it's over. Cups, food wrappers, diapers. We leave places worse than they were when we found them. You don't see this in a white neighborhood. And don't even mention trailer parks to me, okay? Because trailer parks are the lowest of the lowest and the poorest of the poorest when you come to white people. And even at that, they are not so degenerate. Their problem is poverty, not a dysfunctional subculture, okay? But we have middle-class, moderately wealthy black neighborhoods sinking in dysfunction. Why is that? Why do we act like the environment doesn't matter? Like respect for public space is optional. Let's not talk about the noise. Why is everything so loud? Music blasting from cars with no regard for others, okay? People screaming in public, fights breaking out at restaurants, airports, Walmart, Dollar Trees, and it's always the same faces, okay? People now say it's not all of them, but it is always them. It is always us, like over and over and over again.
And for my black folks watching right now, you know that feeling when you hear a story of something that went down and the first thought you have is, please don't let it be. Please don't let it be. Please. Damn. It is. It's black folk again. Yeah. Let us quickly bring a disclaimer. Maybe it's a little late for a disclaimer. Probably should have done that in the beginning. I don't actually believe that this is the God-given natural tendency of black people or any people. I believe humans to be blank slates, and you can essentially install software into this hardware that you so choose. The software that is installed is known as identity, which holds your belief systems. It holds your cultural affiliation, how you perceive yourself. And so the problem does not lay in skin color. The problem lays in the software that is being downloaded into most black people. Most black people are being raised with very low standards of what they're willing to accept for themselves, about themselves and their own environments. And I've been in multiple countries, multiple continents. I haven't touched base in every single continent, but I've been in enough places to see this as being a common theme, whether you are in Africa, in Western Europe, or the United States of America. It is damn near paralleled. And it's not just dark skin. You have, North Africans who damn near look like they have no, black blood in them that are living in this very same way. I got to make that very clear, right? I have been in predominantly Muslim neighborhoods where you will not see any black faces, and it's the very same degenerate stuff that you're seeing as far as filth throughout the environment, etc. Now, when it comes to behavior, and I'm so glad that was brought up because sometimes these seem like petty things, but they're not. They all matter. The noise pollution in a city is already enough. There's so much going on. The hustle and bustle is all just too damn much. Again, I have a bias. Some of y'all love the cities. That's your thing, right? I've been in beautiful cities and I think they're amazing, but I wouldn't want to retire. There's no such thing for me. I wouldn't want to settle there for the rest of my life, right? But when you have this added insult to injury, just noise, blasting cars, as both of these two individuals said, blasting cars, yelling. You're on a train, a tram, and you hear people on speaker on their phones. Ah, la, 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 la. What is that about? Why is that necessary? Do you know we can see you? Insert Cat Williams gif. Do you know we can hear your whole conversation? Why are you doing this? Like I can be pronounced, I can be bold, whatever. But when I'm on the phone, let's say with my lady or whatever, I'm in public transit. Yo, what's up? Okay. Yeah, I got you. Love you too. That's where I'm at with it. I'm not about to click FaceTime. Hey, like, no, I don't know you. I don't want to know you or them in that screen. No, thank you. But it's a cultural thing. It's an identity thing. And unfortunately, most black folks have carried forward some of the worst aspects. It's just that simple. And it can be corrected I believe it can be corrected in a generation because it has been before and in a multitude of peoples, black, brown, or otherwise, damn it. You know, that's always the excuse, but it's different for brown and black folk because of discrimination. No, everybody has had a history at some level of discrimination towards them, including the German people. You know, look into the history of the Balkan countries where they were discriminated against, treated as second-class citizens, as nothing. You could look at, the Japanese in America and the discrimination that they went through, real life internment camps. We can look at discrimination and it still hasn't been an excuse for people's progress and to do better and to live better. No level of discrimination is going to stop you from picking up the damn litter. Like, me and my girl love to watch these, or at least I do. Maybe I just drag her along with these. I'm pretty sure she loves them too. I think it's, what's his name? Something Food Reviews. And he goes around the planet and he goes into like the most, into the jungle, the bush, like the remotest places. And he sits down with these people. He breaks bread or, live pork or half embryo, half eggs or whatever. He gets into some insane stuff, insane dishes, but he learns the culture. He seeps himself. He goes head deep in these experiences. And I remember watching him in, where was it? Somewhere in Western Africa. It is a city that is essentially encompassed with water. It is a water city. It must be in Nigeria. The place was riddled with filth. The water was densely polluted. No, you can't blame the white man for throwing his trash and it ended up in the African's backyard. That's not what happened. These people throw their trash onto the water and have no consideration for it. And therefore, that's the end goal. That's the end product, excuse me. My goodness. That place was an absolute dumpster. Another episode, he's in the middle of, I think it's an island somewhere in the Philippines. And I'm not saying all the Philippines is clean or whatever it is. I haven't been. I don't know. But this island was also a water-based island, right? Where the houses are literally protruding from the water. I maybe saw one or two pieces of trash. They're using the same amount of, resources, etc. I saw one or two pieces of trash in the water. Why is that? I would say it's because they have a different standard for themselves. Oh, but poverty. They have the same level of poverty. The Nigerians were in closer proximity to less poverty than, this remote tribe in the Philippines. You can't tell me it's about poverty. Just because somebody's poor doesn't mean they're a thief. Just because somebody's poor doesn't mean that they have no sense of regard for their environment. Just because they're poor doesn't mean they are a degenerate human being. Those are choices that are made at an individual level. And if your culture is informing those behaviors and it is egging those behaviors on, that's what you're going to get. Again, why do we see videos time and time again? Not just on my channel, all throughout the internet. People telling their stories of when they're in this neighborhood versus that neighborhood, in this environment versus that environment. And I'm not saying there's no black neighborhood that is clean, etc. These are the exceptions, however. These are the exceptions where you feel safe in these environments. And it is something that can be changed. I don't fall into the white supremacist ideology, the neo-schmaltzy ideology of this is genetics and nothing but genetics. No, it's an accepted narrative of we're victims. We can't do nothing about it. Infantilization. You make yourself out to not be able to do a damn thing. And so you continue to perpetuate the very same childlike behaviors. If you feed the machine education, understanding, respect, Maturity. That's the product you're going to get out of the human machine, out of the human being, right? You install that software, you're going to get that back. That's why, somebody who is perpetually subject to extremely traumatic sort of environments and situations will take a lot of that and internalize it. And so there has to be a downloading of new software. There has to be a raising of the standards. It's really as difficult or as hard, but as simple as that. It's not necessarily difficult. It's simple, but it is hard because it means letting go of your cultural identification of being ostracized, seen as an outsider. Oh, you act white, you talk white, you think you white, you think you better than us. Okay, sure. As long as I don't have to live in this. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Now, if you'd like to stay around, make sure to click that little subscribe button down there, or you can show some love by going to the description below and clicking on the button titled Buy Me a Coffee. Leave a little something there, or click on the Cash App. Leave a little something here. Till the next time, peace. Aquarius. Where? I've been up for hours, I've been up for days, staring at the ceiling, I've been counting strays, I've been in my feelings, I've been out of mind, I've been getting visions of the other kind, I've been up for weeks, I'm in the count of blessings over count of sheep. I can never be the type to limit when it comes to me. I used to be the pleaser for the people I ain't even need.